If a rain shower can make your joints throb, it isn't because the weather is cruel, but because your body is giving you a final warning about something that has been silently building up for years. My name is Ethan Marshall, a 60-year-old physician from the United States. And after more than 3 decades in the health field, I've heard thousands of complaints about joint pain. But there is one thing that still sends a shiver through me every time I hear it. Many people say they can predict rain just from a dull ache in their knee or a sharp tingling in their hand. It may sound unbelievable, but what's even more unsettling is that most of them are right. If you care about your health and want to understand your body more deeply, subscribe to the channel, like, and share this video. Those small actions truly motivate me to continue creating meaningful content like this for you. In my clinic in Colorado, countless patients have walked in with the same familiar sentence. "Doctor, my knee hurt this morning, so it's probably going to rain this afternoon." Or an older man rubbing his shoulder with a resigned smile. This shoulder joint forecasts the weather more accurately than the TV. What struck me was not just their descriptions, but how genuinely they seem to live with these mysterious signals. Have you ever experienced this? A chilly morning that leaves your joints unusually stiff, or a humid day that makes your knees feel as heavy as stone. That sensation isn't imagined. It may be the most natural way your body responds to the environment. The phenomenon of weather-predicting joints is not merely an old folk belief. In the medical community, it is widely recognized. According to a survey of people over 50, nearly 40% reported that their joint pain increases noticeably whenever rain approaches or the air becomes humid. Interestingly, the intensity of pain varies greatly between individuals. Some feel mild discomfort, while others hurt so badly they don't want to get out of bed. These numbers show that our bodies, in some way, can hear what happens in nature long before we can see it. Yet the most important question is not why the pain appears, but what deeper questions lie beneath it. Why do our joints react so subtly that they can sense signals from the sky? Why are some people more sensitive than others? And what exactly are our joints trying to tell us? If answered correctly, these questions may unlock a profound understanding of your own health. Before moving on to the next section for a scientific explanation, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Which group are you in? A, you clearly feel your joints ache before it rains. Or B, you've never noticed or never experienced it. Leave your answer in the comments below. When examining weather-related joint pain from a physiological perspective, the key lies in the body's reaction to changes in air pressure, especially before rain or during humid weather. When atmospheric pressure drops, the environment around the body becomes lighter, causing soft tissues, particularly those surrounding the joints, to naturally expand. In a healthy body, this expansion is minimal and barely perceptible. However, in joints already experiencing low-grade inflammation, where joint fluid accumulates and the joint capsule is hypersensitive, even the slightest decrease in pressure can trigger clear sensations of pain, aching, or tension. This reaction stems from the heightened sensitivity of nerve receptors around the joint when the surrounding tissues are inflamed. Inflammatory fluid stretches the joint capsule, and when external pressure drops, the difference between internal and external pressure increases, leading to greater tension. This explains why some people can almost feel the weather change through their joints, while others notice nothing at all. It is not due to psychological influence, but rather highly specific biological conditions within each joint. Changes in atmospheric pressure also influence blood flow and interstitial fluid movement. When air pressure decreases, fluid movement in connective tissue can slow down, hindering metabolic exchange in already compromised joints. In people with osteoarthritis, the protective cartilage is thinned, bone spurs have formed, and the space between joint surfaces has narrowed. All these factors make the joint more sensitive to environmental fluctuations, A joint operating within a chronic inflammatory state must withstand not only external pressure variations, but also elevated internal pressure. When these two forces combine, pain becomes much more pronounced. In addition, rising humidity and falling temperatures can cause muscles to contract and ligaments to stiffen, making movement more difficult. However, the most decisive factor remains atmospheric pressure because it directly affects the joint capsule and surrounding tissues. A body living with chronic inflammation loses the ability to regulate itself effectively when conditions shift, causing pain, stiffness, and heaviness to be perceived more strongly. From this standpoint, weather-predictive joints align entirely with known biological mechanisms. People with high levels of inflammation, excessive joint fluid, or eroded cartilage will naturally react more intensely to even minor weather changes. This explains why the same environmental condition can produce completely different experiences from person to person. Yet, from the standpoint of natural healing traditions, the body's sensitivity to weather does not arise solely from mechanical reactions in the joints, but also from an internal state of wetness. In the writings of many authors of classical natural health literature, increased pain during rainy weather is viewed as an outward expression of internal imbalance, where waste products, acids, and mucus have accumulated in the tissues over many years. When connective tissues and joint fluids contain excessive metabolic residue, their ability to respond to environmental changes diminishes significantly. This not only intensifies inflammatory reactions, but also amplifies sensory nerve responses to small shifts in air pressure or humidity. According to Arnold Ehret, congestion is not limited to the digestive tract, but spreads into every tissue and cell of the body. This systemic constipation allows waste to build up when it is not properly eliminated, obstructing the natural flow of interstitial fluids. When the weather changes, tissues loaded with metabolic residue swell more easily because these wastes tend to draw water, making them reactive to pressure shifts. This abnormal swelling creates heaviness, aches, and radiating pain in individuals who already have inflammatory or degenerative joint conditions. This explanation reveals the deep relationship between internal stagnation and weather sensitivity, and emphasizes that increased pain during rainy periods is not caused by climate alone, but by long-standing accumulation within the body. Bernard Jensen described autointoxication as a chronic cycle in which toxins from the colon and connective tissues circulate back into the bloodstream, triggering inflammatory responses across organs and systems. When toxin levels remain high, the body tends to overreact to stimuli that would normally be harmless. In this way, humidity and air pressure do not cause illness, but expose imbalances that have existed beneath the surface. Differences in individual reactions to identical weather conditions also become clear. People with weak elimination systems, waste-laden tissues, and high inflammatory markers feel weather shifts far more intensely than those whose bodies are clean and well-regulated. Within this context, pain during rainy weather becomes more than a simple biological reflex. It is a signal that the body is experiencing accumulation. It reflects an internal environment easily disturbed, where tissues have lost their flexibility to adapt to natural fluctuations. This understanding forms the basis for natural healing methods that emphasize internal cleansing as the foundation for reducing weather sensitivity and improving long-term health. In light of the physiological and natural healing explanations for weather sensitivity, the supportive methods documented in traditional health literature offer an additional pathway toward improving the body's adaptability. These methods do not merely target symptoms, but aim to address the root of the stagnation believed to magnify pain when humidity or air pressure changes. The prevailing principle among natural healing authors is restoring bodily purity through techniques that remove accumulated waste and reestablish efficient elimination. A low mucus diet is a foundational approach, as refined starches, animal proteins, and processed foods tend to create metabolic residue that contributes to the tissue congestion described by many practitioners. Reducing these foods and replacing them with fresh vegetables, fruits, and low-residue nutrient sources decreases metabolic burden and supports digestive function. With fewer waste products entering the system, the body's elimination pathways can work more effectively, reducing connective tissue stagnation and improving the body's response to environmental pressure changes. Alongside dietary changes, reasonable fasting is considered a method that accelerates the body's natural cleansing process. According to many healing texts, when the body goes without food for a period, it shifts toward addressing stored residues within tissues and expelling inflammatory compounds through the elimination systems. This state helps restore internal balance, particularly in individuals with chronic accumulation. As inflammation decreases and tissues regain flexibility, responses to weather fluctuations become more moderate, reducing discomfort during atmospheric transitions. More direct approaches, such as colon cleansing, are discussed as means of eliminating long-retained waste from the digestive tract. Advocates suggest that clearing the colon reduces the toxin load circulating in the bloodstream and stabilizes the enteric nervous system, which is closely connected to muscle tension and bodily stiffness. As this system improves, the body's reaction to shifts in air pressure or humidity becomes noticeably gentler. On a mental energetic level, some texts propose that a clean body allows internal energy to circulate smoothly, fostering a more stable state in relation to environmental forces. A well-regulated system not only responds more gracefully to natural changes, but also maintains a sense of lightness and reduced tension, factors that can otherwise intensify pain perception. When applied appropriately and tailored to individual needs, these methods may contribute meaningfully to reducing weather sensitivity and promoting long-term resilience. Across all perspectives presented, a central understanding emerges. The condition of the internal environment plays a far more decisive role than the external climate in shaping how the body reacts to weather. The weather itself is not the cause of joint pain, but a catalyst revealing an imbalance that already exists within. In both clinical practice and natural healing systems, the link between digestive health, waste accumulation, and the body's adaptability to environmental change is consistently emphasized. Pain that intensifies during rain or humidity reflects a body that has lost some of its flexibility after years of low-grade inflammation and stagnation. Improving health in this context requires focusing not on superficial symptom relief, but on restoring internal cleanliness and balance. The cleaner the body becomes, the more smoothly fluids circulate, and the more effectively inflammation can subside. As waste is eliminated efficiently, joint tissues become supple and less reactive, enhancing the body's capacity to handle seasonal or atmospheric changes. A stable internal environment is not easily disrupted by shifts in air pressure or humidity, because the body has established its own equilibrium. This regulatory ability does not arise from a single organ, but from the coordinated effort of the digestive, eliminative, nervous, and connective tissue systems. When these systems are freed from metabolic burden and function in harmony, the body regains its natural adaptability, leading to reduced overreactions to climatic variations. This explains why individuals who maintain a clean lifestyle, eat lightly, and support detoxification tend to experience fewer weather-related symptoms than those with long-standing accumulation. From a broader perspective, the essential message is not to resist the climate, but to cultivate a healthy internal environment. Weather will always change, humidity will rise and fall, and air pressure will continue to shift. But a body kept in a clean and balanced state will not be easily disturbed. This principle extends beyond weather-related pain and forms the foundation of long-term health. Inner stability enables harmony with nature rather than reactive discomfort. Thus, instead of focusing on factors beyond our control, such as the weather, the more effective approach is to care for the foundations of the body itself. When the inner climate improves, the impact of the outer climate naturally becomes lighter and less disruptive. This is the deeper meaning behind building health from the inside out. Sensitivity to climate change is not a sign of weakness, but a reminder that the internal environment needs appropriate attention. Pain that arises when humidity increases or air pressure drops does not originate from weather, but reflects chronic inflammation, stagnation, and diminished regulatory capacity. When the digestive, eliminative, and connective systems regain clarity and flow, the body restores its natural adaptability, reducing responses to environmental changes. Improving the internal environment becomes a crucial key to maintaining balance, comfort, and harmony amid nature's variations. A practical insight is that sustainable health comes not from trying to control the environment, but from lightening the body's burden each day. Choosing fresh, simple foods, limiting mucus-forming substances, supporting digestion, and maintaining consistent routines helps stabilize the internal environment and enhance joint flexibility and daily comfort. Do you clearly notice changes in your body whenever the weather becomes humid or rain approaches? Share your experience in the comments. Don't forget to fill out the form in the description to receive a Healing Health ebook, and subscribe, like, and share the video to help the channel continue spreading valuable content.